What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another NFL mock draft. It has been a hot minute since I've done one of these. You kind of see the whiteness from my other monitor. That's because here, I'll show you guys right now. Ooh, I got it up there. I got it all ready for when we switch over. But welcome into another mock draft. If you don't know, you know, hit that sub button. If you love these, want to keep in tune with all these mock drafts, hit that like button if you like this video. Quick housekeeping, Discord link is down below as well. Join the Discord. Support us on Patreon. That link is down below too. But let's get into this, and this is the kind of season I love. I've added trades to the mock draft. The first one, I believe, I went straight through, no trades. We are now here in trade season, and I now get to add trades to the mock draft. Remember, I've kind of shifted my thought with this. Some of these is what I think the team will do, but more so what I think the team is going to do. That's more so. I want to get it right rather than what I would do. So a lot of these is looking into what the team might do come draft time. And obviously, if you love your pick, hate your pick for your favorite team, let me know down below. But let's get into this. I'm not going to waste a lot of time here at the beginning. Let's get into this mock draft off the start. And right now I got to make sure that the timer is not going for me, so I have time to kind of talk here. The Bears are on the clock, and at number one, this one is probably the easiest pick I am ever going to make. It's Caleb Williams. Like, this is one, Justin Fields, bye-bye, you're gone, probably going to get traded to the Atlanta Falcons, but he's gone. The number one pick, boom, easiest pick in the world, and they're going to go with, Caleb Williams. Now we get to two, and for me, I've got a little shake up here at the number two spot, mainly because the Commanders are in a tricky situation. They have some needs. They could go quarterback because, beginning of last season, I said Sam who, and I was very down on Sam Howell. I gave my apologies already to Mr. Howell. He kind of put my shoe in my mouth and played a surprisingly well season, surprisingly good this season. So they could say, hey, let's ride Sam Howell for another year. Let's try to get some draft assets. And they could look to trade number two for a team trying to move up to a quarterback. And that's what I have here. So let's get into the first trade I've got. It's the Commanders at 2, giving the second overall pick and a 5th rounder. So 1 and 138, I believe it is. That's going to go over to Denver. Denver is going to give the Commanders in return their first round pick, which is 12th overall, a 3rd round pick, which is 76th overall, a 1st round pick in next year's draft, and a 2nd rounder. So the Commanders are going to get a haul. They're going to get a 1st, a 3rd, and then a future 1st and a future 2nd, and they're going to give up a 1st and a 5th here. So Denver at 2, who are they moving up for? And this is one I will say could be a smokescreen, could be like, I've read different things. I saw this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it kind of hasn't lost any steam that, hey, I'm blanking on the name. Sean Payton. I almost said Sean McVay. Sean Payton wants his guy, wants his quarterback, could trade up for him. And the name I'm seeing, and the big one I'm going to say here, Cecil Lamney of Denver Sports, said Payton could be moving up for his guy, and that guy is Drake May. From what I'm seeing, and I'm quoting Denver Sports Cecil Lamney here with the main report, Drake May would be the guy that Denver moves up for. Now, J.J. McCarthy also moving up on boards. Could he be the one that some teams trade up for? I think that after Caleb Williams goes at 2, the Commanders could be sitting there just ring, 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 ring. Let me pick up the phone. Let me see who's on it. And they could be in the market to trade, get some draft assets. They're a team that could need to get some more youth into that team, get into their roster. And I've got Denver moving up, getting their quarterback of the future in Drake May, who wouldn't be my second best quarterback on the board, but hey, Denver, if you love him, go get your guy. and go and trust it. Then we got the Patriots, and I know we've seen a lot of stuff. Oh, the Vikings should trade up for number 3 and trade Justin Jefferson. No, bad dog. No, we don't do that. We don't trade Justin Jefferson for the number 3 pick. I don't think there's going to be a trade here at all. And the reason why is, in my notes here, I got a quote, and it was from Coach Mayo when he was introduced as the Patriot coach. It says, and I quote, "We are going to take the best player available for the biggest need on the team." And the biggest need on this team, because they're giving away Mac Jones, he ain't going to be coming back. The biggest need is quarterback. Who's the best quarterback on the board? Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the pick at 3 for the Patriots. Quarterback to start this mock draft. We get him right off the board only because someone traded up to 2. But yeah, I think the Patriots go get their quarterback, especially at number 3. You need it if you're not going to bring Mac Jones back. And Jaden Daniels, I think, could be a guy that fits into New England and might be a little bit of a project, but who knows? He's the only one that I'm sitting here going, okay, I got to do some work on him to see if he's going to be boom or bust when it comes to the next level. LSU, I'll be honest, there's a little bit of a bias there. I was not huge on the LSU Tigers this season. Then we get to the Cardinals, and this pick is as easy as da bears. And the reason why it's easy is, hey, let's have the dominoes fall. You get Marvin Harrison at 4 overall. You get a guy that could be this guy has the talent to be the numero uno pick. He has the talent to be the numero dos pick. And you're going to get him at 4. I think the Cardinals are ecstatic. They are ecstatic if they are getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and the type of talent and the type of superstar he could be in the league. There are scouts oozing over him with how great he could be in the league. And like I have in my notes, Gannon loves Kyler Murray, believes in Kyler. And yeah, let's get him his young number 1 to pair up with Kyler Murray. So I think the Cardinals aren't going to look for the replacement to Kyler Murray. They're going to look to get him a weapon at number 4. Then you sit here with the Chargers, and the Chargers have a decision. Jim Harbaugh coming in from Michigan. He trades in his maize and blue for a little powder blue and yellow, and they could go several different directions. And I saw news that they plan to cut Mike Williams, which opens up a hole at wide receiver. You got a Malik Neighbors there. You got a Roma Dunes. This wide receiver class is stacked. So you can get talent pretty much all over the board, but you could take your wide receiver here if you want it. They also have a big need at cornerback. Terrion Arnold would be the top corner on the board here. At 5, that might be a little bit of a reach. However, is it a reach if you really like the guy and he pans out? And then you've got tight end. And for me, the way I looked at this is all options are obviously on the table. I wrote off cornerback first because it would be the biggest reach. I would probably go wide receiver or Brock Bowers, get Air Bear some weapons to throw to, some reliable weapons that are going to stay healthy, because that's the big thing. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, how deep are each of these classes? Well, you click on the wide receivers. Like I said, this class is so deep. You have I already drafted one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 guys that are first round caliber or could be first round talent in this draft. Then you got guys like McConkey, turned some heads at the Senior Bowl, Xavier Worthy. You have Polk, who people are high on. Later on, Parcell, who, JD was talking about. Brendan Rice, son of Jerry Rice. McMillan, who is very good. You have guys that you can get in the back end. Even Washington from USC. You have guys in the back end of this draft where I love the wide receivers coming out this year. Then you look at the tight ends, and it's like, this class is not as stacked as the wide receivers are. So for me, yes, I'm passing up on a Malik Neighbors or a Roma Dunes. For me, it would be Rome would be the guy. But I'm looking here and it's like Brock Bowers compared to the other tight ends, he is leaps and bounds better than what you're going to get later in the draft. I'm taking Brock Bowers here if I'm the Chargers, and I'm kind of giving Air Bear hopefully his Antonio Gates in the league. It's going to be a Breeze or Rivers to AG. I was trying to say Antonio Gates, but I'm like, AG sounds cooler. To his AG, to his BB, his B squared basically is what I'm giving him at the next level. Then we got the Giants, and they're a team that this one's very easy. I have here, they gave up 85 total sacks this year. That just can't happen. That just cannot happen in this league. You have a guy like, and okay, some people are going to say Joe Alt compared to Ola Fashanu. That's kind of a debate. Some people have Joe Alt ahead. I still have Ola Fashanu as my top tackle, and that's who the G-men are going with. They're taking Ola Fashanu. They're getting that tackle. Hey, we need to protect Daniel Jones. We can't give up 83 sacks again next year. Bada bing, bada boom. That's your pick at number 6. Then we go to number 7, the Titans. This one's interesting because could be a quarterback. You got some quarterbacks on the board. I'll switch to them. Like JJ McCarthy's rising up boards. Michael Penix, I think most people have him rated too low compared to what scouts think. Like, to me, it's the 3 that I had, Williams, May, and Daniels, with Penix and McCarthy. 5 quarterbacks could go in the first round this year, and then you have the rest. I don't think the Titans are going with a quarterback here, though. I think they're sitting and they're going, hey, you know what? We've got Will Levis. We're going to let Will cook. We need to get him some help. I'm taking the best wide receiver on the board, and for me, that's Roma Dunes out of Washington. So, I mean, I know D-Hop played well, but let's get this guy. Let's pair our young quarterback with a young wide receiver. Get him a weapon to throw to. Give him more weapons to throw to. Roma Dunes would be my pick for the Titans at 7. Then you got 8, and this is the Atlanta Falcons. I will say the Falcons could potentially trade, I'm thinking, a second and a third to get Justin Fields. Bring him on over. Now, I will say, Kai in the Discord, got to give a shout out to Kai, said that the same reports that are saying that Fields is going to the Falcons were the same ones that like, oh, Belichick's going there. I don't know if we can completely write off the sources because they were wrong about Belichick, but I think the Falcons are the team that if a trade happens with Fields, they're the ones that land him because they're a team that Desmond Ridder is not that guy, and with the talent that they have with Pitts, with London, with Bijan, they got to go ahead and get a quarterback that can at least handle himself in this league, which Justin Fields can. With the Falcons, like, wide receiver is a huge one because all you got is Drake London. And I don't know, though. Like, I look at this and I see Campbell and Dupree, UFAs, like, whatever they do with free agency and re-signing guys is obviously going to change this. But for the Falcons, I think, like, what have I said for years after years after years? The 2 most important positions in football, your quarterback, your edge rusher. They need edge rushing. They need it bad. They also need a quarterback, which is not very good. You need a quarterback and an edge rusher. Well, if you're going to trade for Fields, there's one. Let's go get the other one. I got Dallas Turner of Roll Tide. I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Dallas Turner, he's going to be an Atlanta Falcon for the ATL. Then we get the Bears at 9, and this is where we get our second trade. And the Bears, I will say this, Bear fans, if you are waiting for this second pick, I'm going to spoiler alert, you're going to be waiting a while, but stick with me. I want to see what you guys think. And obviously this trade, the Saints are moving up to 9, so all the Saints are getting is the 9th overall pick. They are giving up their first round pick at 14, a 5th round pick this year at 148, and then they are giving up a 4th round pick next year. So a 1st and a 5th this year, a 4th next year to move up from 14 to 9. And you might be thinking, Ricky, what are the Saints moving up for? What could they be looking at? And there is one guy that I think of And the only reason I'm trading up for this guy, it's Jared Verse. And here's the reason why I have the Saints trading up for him is edge is a need for the Saints. And from what I'm reading, Verse fits the prototype for what the Saints look for. Like I have here in my notes verbatim, a little smaller than usual prototypes, but he fits the edge guys that the Saints draft for their team. And I went perfect fit. So like this could be the guy that they're looking for. And the main reason why I had the trade up and why I think they would is you got the Vikings there at 11. Vikings are a team. Could they go quarterback? Could they wait on the quarterback, go with an edge rusher? Like if Verse is there, it makes it very interesting of do they go with like a Penix or a McCarthy, or if they go Verse. I think that because the Vikings are there, you also have the Commanders who could also go edge rusher. You got some people in front of you. If you're the Saints at 14, you're like, hey, if we want an edge rusher, we got to go up and get them. And that's what I have them doing, going up and getting Verse, get their guy at number 9. Then the Jets, this one's plain and simple. You know, OT's your top need. Joe Alt, welcome to the Jets. Welcome to the Jets. Both teams in New York need offensive tackles. They're going to go ahead and get them. Give Aaron Rodgers that help after he's coming off of that Achilles injury. Not the reason he got injured, but hey, let's give him some more help. Let's get him some protection, especially when you need help on that offensive line. Then we got the Vikings. And my Vikings, this is a tough position because if you're asking me what I think we need to draft, well, it depends on if Kirk Cousins is coming back. If Kirky Cousins is coming back, maybe we don't have to draft a quarterback. Maybe we go with an edge rusher because our defense wasn't great last year, and it gave me a little bit of nightmares at times. But yet again, I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer, and I don't think that he's the answer, and that's just plain and simple. What I think the Vikings are going to do here, and for some people, this might be a mega reach, but I think they're going to draft Michael Penix. And the reason why I think this is, first off, I think a lot of people are low on Michael Penix because of the natty that he played. The natty game in general, they're looking at that, and they're not looking at his entire track record. Another reason why I think the Vikings are going to take Penix is, now they're a team that could trade up for a quarterback. I'll say that because the reason I say that is I have here in my notes, tried to trade up for AR and didn't. There was a whole thing. They tried to trade with the Colts. We're going to give the farm, give the war chest to the Colts, and the Colts were like, but your picks are going to be low. We're going to stay and draft AR ourselves. And it turned out, I know he got injured, but it turned out to be a good decision right now for them. I think Penix and Daniels are the two guys that the Vikings will target. And with Daniels being off the board, I think that they're going to take their guy here. They're going to go with Penix and say, hey, this is our guy. This is the one we want to draft. And yeah, I mean, they might not even need to draft Penix here. They could probably wait till, like, if, with me, I love Penix. I think he's a first-round talent. I have him as my, second quarterback? Well, yeah, second quarterback. He's not better than Williams. I have him as my personal second quarterback on the board. Him and Daniels, even though Daniels I'm kind of wishy-washy on just because the rest, like, it's Williams, Daniels, and the rest for me. But Penix is my favorite. He is my Will Levis of this year, the guy that I've kind of hitched my my wagon to, and he's my guy. So I would love him for the Vikings, but hey, let's see. Viking fans, let me know what you guys think. Would that be a reach, or should we have went with something else there? Or are the Vikings going to go with something else there? Let me know. But at number 12, the Commanders, this is via the Broncos. They are taking this pick, and they're going to take Liatu Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA. This is a team that traded away Young, traded away Montez Sweat. They need an edge rusher on that D-line. Latu is going to fill that hole. Then you have the Raiders, and the Raiders are going to do shocking things. They could, like, they have so many needs that they could go with. Like, offensive tackle could be one. You've got, I think, cornerback could also be a viable option for them. I think they're going to go with JJ McCarthy. I think that, Jimmy G, the experiment, how much does AP like Jimmy G? That's going to be the main question. Quarterback or offensive tackle are the two that I kind of see here. Could be a corner as well. They're also a team that's in rumors to be trading up, so maybe they trade up for a better quarterback. But yeah, I think JJ McCarthy would be my pick here for the Raiders and what they would do if they were here at number 13. Then we have the Bears, and the Bears back on the clock, but they're not going to be on the clock for long because we have another trade to announce, and this one is going to feature the Bengals moving up. So the Bengals are going to get a first-round pick. They're going to get the 14th overall pick, and that's all they're going to get. They're going to give up their first-round pick at 18 and their fourth-round pick at 116. Bears are going to move back for a second time in this draft. I will say this, Bears fans listening right now, there is a method to the madness here of what I think the Bears will do. So wait till it's all over before you judge it. But yeah, Bengals are going to move up. They're going to give away a first and a fourth to move up 4 spots. And the reason why I have them moving up is there are some teams ahead of them that need offensive tackle, could go offensive tackle. The Bengals desperately need offensive tackle help, and I got them going with Talalise Fuaga out of Oregon State, the offensive tackle. Got them trading up. Wide receiver and OT kind of seem like the ones it could be. Free agency will kind of solidify if wide receiver is that pick, but offensive tackle, like I put, with Williams being a unrestricted free agent, like there's going to be a hole at that right tackle spot, and that's where Fuaga can kind of fit in there right there at the right tackle position. Then you have the Colts, and this is a team that cornerback and wide receiver are their biggest needs. I know that Michael Pittman, though, is a free agent. He should be back, but, adding weapons for AR is never a problem, and Malik Neighbors is sitting there kind of falling in some books. So I'm going to have the Colts go with the wide receiver, giving AR more weapons, taking a guy like Malik Neighbors to kind of inject into that wide receiver core for the Colts. Then we have another trade, and this trade does not include the Bears, for first one in a while that we haven't had there. It includes the Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are going to move up to number 16. They are going to get a first, get a fourth from the Seahawks. They're going to give away a first and a second. So they're going to give away their first round pick, their second round pick, 22 and 53. They're going to get back a first, so move up a couple spots from 22 to 16, and then basically move back second round pick, move that back to the fourth round, and they're kind of swapping around some picks so nobody loses any. But first and second going to Seattle, first and a fourth going to the Eagles. And what are the Eagles going to do here at pick number 16? This is another one where there are teams here. You have the Jaguars, the Rams, the Steelers, the Dolphins potentially could. So many teams here in these picks could go with a position that the Eagles desperately need. Cornerback is their number one need, in my opinion. Some people might disagree, but with cornerback being so high, you have at this point, Arnold's probably falling in some books. You have Arnold, Mitchell right there. If those two are falling, I'm looking there at 16. Hey, neither of these two guys will probably be there at 22. Let's go up and get one, and I'm going to take Arnold out of Alabama. So another roll tide. Don't give a piss about nothing but the tide. And Arnold is going to be here at 16 for the Eagles. They're going to trade up, take him, get some cornerback help. That means the Jaguars, what are they going to do? Are they going to panic? No. They're going to say, well, okay, we didn't get Arnold. We're going to take Mitchell. cornerback's our number one need. We're going to take a cornerback here, and Mitchell is going to be that guy fitting in for the Jaguars at 17. Then we have the Bears at 18. This is via the Bengals, and guess what? Ring-a-ding-ding. The phones are ringing, and the Bears are making another trade. They are going to move back from 18, so they're going to give the 18th pick to the Ravens. Only thing that the Ravens are getting, Bears are going to get a first-round pick, which is 30th overall. They're going to get a third-round pick, which ends up being 93rd in the draft, and then a fifth-round pick next year. So a first, a third, and a future fifth coming over to the Bears. And the first-round pick here at number 18 going to the Baltimore Ravens. What do the Ravens do? Why are they kind of doing this? They're trying to get Lamar Jackson some help, and they're going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. And the reason why I'm doing this is I know Bear fans might be sitting there saying, well, Ricky, we need a wide receiver. Why are we passing on these? There's a specific reason why. I will get to it when the Bears make their pick, because they will be making that pick in that draft. But like, there's other teams here that could be looking for a wide receiver later on. And I think the Ravens are going to say, hey, we got to move up. We got to get some weapons. It can't just be Zay Flowers out there. So I think they're going to move up. They're going to take Brian Thomas Jr., kind of take him. Some people might say, well, Ricky, you don't have to trade up if you're the Ravens, but you know what? I personally think they do. And they're going to move up to get the better wide receiver at number 18. Exactly my notes. Cornerback is no. Tons of wide receivers are free agents for the Ravens. That's what I put. I'm reading the next one. And they got to fill a hole or two. So it's like they might have to take two wide receivers. Get a real good one in Brian Thomas. Then we have the Rams, like I was reading for them. Cornerback's their number one need. Nate Wiggins is there. Welcome to LA, Nate Wiggins. Easy pick. Rams take the cornerback. One of the teams that needed cornerback besides the Jaguars. Then you have the Steelers, and this is kind of where the run on cornerbacks could go. The Steelers need cornerback depth. I think there's a guy right here that's really good, Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean coming to Iowa. He's going to stay in the black and yellow. He's just going to go over to Pittsburgh compared to Iowa. Won't change his colors at all. Then you got at 21, the Dolphins. Dolphins are sitting here, and their number one need is offensive tackle. They need a right tackle. Who's better than Latham? J.C. Latham from Alabama. Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Gonna say that every time an Alabama player is picked. But Latham, he's gonna go over, hey, we got a hole at right tackle. We need you to fill it. Can you be that guy? JC can be that guy for the Miami Dolphins. Then we have the Seahawks. This is their pick now that they have via the Eagles. They traded back. And this is one where I got Williams and Edwards are both free agents. We'll see what happens there. They could need someone to fill a hole on that left side of the line. And that's where I've got them going with Chop Robinson out of Penn State. Got him going with Robinson here, getting some edge help so that they can. I don't think both of those guys come back. One of them's probably gone. Hey, we need an edge rusher. Let's get a young one in Robinson from Penn State. Then you have the Texans here. They are a team that needs help with Rankins as a free agent. They need help on the interior line. Go with a guy that I love because he plays for the Illinois Fighting Illini, and that is Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. Got him going to the Houston Texans here at number 23. Then you have the Cowboys. They are going to go with a D lineman as well. With Murphy falling, this would be a steal for the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to solidify the inside of their line. They're going to go with Byron Murphy, the guy out of Texas. The Texas guy gets to stay and play for Dallas in Texas. Would have stayed in Texas either way, Houston or Dallas, but he's going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. Then you have the Packers, who they need offensive line help. And when it comes to tackle or interior, I'm going interior when it comes to them. I'm going with JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, out of the Oregon Ducks. So JPJ is going to, yet again, different green and yellow. He's just going to stay in a green and yellow jersey, just a little bit darker of a green and yellow in the NFL, and going to the Packers. Then we have at number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is one where let's see how events unfold, because as I'm recording this, nothing has happened. I haven't seen anything happening. This obviously is going to come out early for patrons compared to everyone else, so things might have changed, but it looks like Mike Evans could be donezo with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If he is, if he's not, if he's only on a 1-year deal with the tag, they could need some wide receiver help. And I think that they are going to sit here and they're going to look and they're going to go, we have other needs, but we really need to replace Mike Evans. And this wide receiver class is really good. We can't pass on one of these top guys. And that's where Keon Coleman comes in. Coleman being a guy, bigger wide receiver. Tomato between him and Thomas and Franklin, but I think they go with Coleman here and they say, hey, we need a wide receiver because we're losing Mike Evans to free agency. So I got the Bucs going wide receiver and Coleman. Then you have the Cardinals here via the Texans. I have them. It's either going to be edge or corner here. I'm kind of looking, and like you look at the edges, we're looking at second round talent at this point. So for me, I'm like, okay, let's go to the cornerbacks. Cool. Kool-Aid McKinstry is right there. This is easy. Hey, edge, corner is the higher BPA right there. We're going to go with McKinstry out of Alabama because I don't give a piss about nothing but the turd. I don't know. Just trying to get interesting with it. This is the fourth time I'm saying it with Alabama players going in this draft. Whew, it'll be the last time I say it, though, in this mock draft. I'll give that spoiler warning right now. Then we have 28, the Bills. However, Mock Draft Simulator wouldn't let me do this, so it's going to say the Bills, but it's not the Bills, if that makes sense. This is going to be the 49ers who will be picking here, because I got a shocker. I got Brandon Ayuk getting traded. I don't know if this happens before the draft, on draft night. I've got Ayuk being traded. And this all started with me where I had the thought of, what if the Bills called up the 49ers and were like, we want to structure a deal around Ayuk and Stephon Diggs? But then I was looking at it and I'm like, you know what? Gabe Davis is a free agent. They could lose him in free agency. Like nothing, like he could come back, but they could lose him at the same time. So I'm kind of structuring, this is a little different because of picks available, but the idea is this is kind of in lieu of and kind of similar to the AJ Brown deal that happened in 2022. And when you look at it, Brandon Ayuk and AJ Brown, kind of similar players, third year, fourth year kind of guys. They're guys that have been very respectable for their teams. The only difference is Ayuk's been to 2 Super Bowls, whereas AJ Brown wasn't. But yeah, I got the Bills giving up a first, a third, and a fifth in this year's draft to go ahead and get Brandon Ayuk. So basically, their wide receivers before Gabe Davis would even be back, or if he is back, you got Davis, Diggs, Ayuk. If Davis is not back, you got Diggs and Ayuk, and those could be your main guys. I just think the Bills need wide receivers, and they're not going to draft someone. They're going to go out and trade for someone. So that's why Ayuk is the guy that I have them trading for, giving draft picks to the 49ers. And the 49ers here at 28 are going to look at this and say, hey, we could go and draft a wide receiver, fill that hole right away. We could get that later, though, or they could look to do that in free agency would have happened before this point. Like O-line wide receiver for offense, defensive back and edge for the defense. Those are kind of the areas I'm looking at. And I'm saying, hey, you know what? Tyler Guyton is there out of Oklahoma. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take him. I'm going to take an offensive tackle, beef up that line for Brock Purdy, and then I'll have one pick later at 31. Then you have the Lions, and this one to me, I wanted to really get into the head of Johnson and Campbell. Campbell and Johnson and Campbell, whichever one sounds better. C and J out there, J and C. And I wanted to really get in their heads. And I was looking at their team needs. And I'm like, you know what? Last year I was like, this is what their need is. This is where they need to draft. I've learned that the Lions don't do that. This Lions management isn't going to say, hey, what's our top need? Let's go ahead and get it. They're going to obviously look at guys and be like, and this is one, I don't know if there's any character issues. I don't think there is. So go ahead and correct me if there are, but I think they're going to look at it and go, hey, many people don't think this is a top need, but he's the best player in this position because none of them have been drafted so far. I think the Lions do need safety help. And I think, yet again, this is in lieu of like the Jack Campbell pick, the Gibbs pick, where I was like, oh, those are reaches. Some people might say, whoa, Ricky, Cameron Kitchens is a reach for the Lions. But I'm trying to get inside their heads. What would they do? And that's something this Lions management would do. That's something they do. I think I've figured out the formula of how they think in Detroit. Then we got 30, and this is where the plan comes to fruition here for the Bears. And I just want to say this to Bears fans who are mad that they're trading so much. Let's look at the first trade. So you move back, what would that be? 5 spots. You get a 5th rounder and a future 4th. So you're getting a 5th, future 4th. Then you're moving back again. You're moving back another 4 spots. 5th, future 4th. Let's add in a 4th. So a 4th, a 5th, and a future 4th. Then you're going to go ahead and move back another time. You already had a 4th, a 5th, and a future 4th. Now you're going to get a 3rd. So a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and now a future 5th. So all together with these trades, the Bears moved back from 9 to 30, got a 3rd round pick. They've added a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick this year. And they've added a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick next year. And the reason why I think this is one where it's kind of on the line of like, I could see the Bears doing this, but this is more of like what I would do if I'm the Bears. That's where this is kind of, it's towing that line. I could see, though, the Bears doing this. And the reason why I could see Poles doing this is wide receiver would be that pick. You could have drafted, who was around at 9? Let's see. You could have drafted Malik Neighbors and been fine. But I'm looking at this roster construction, and I'm like, usually you have your smaller wide receiver, your big wide receiver. DJ Moore is your smaller guy. You need a guy. I'm thinking like in the past of like Alshon Jeffrey. You need that guy that's 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", has a little beef on there. Hey, he's the guy. Throw it up and he's going to go get it. He's the bigger guy. He's the throw it up to the highest point and he'll go on and catch it. Keon Coleman was the guy. That's the one I'm like, ooh, I wish he was there. And I thought he would be for a while. But then I didn't think about the Bucs. And the Bucs took a wide receiver. The Bucs don't take a wide receiver. Keon Coleman's the pick here. However, I think the Bears are happy with who they're getting here in Troy Franklin. Like, it's either a Coleman or Franklin. Whoever you're getting, that's who you're getting at 30. You're fine with either. These are guys that are taller. Like, I want to say for Franklin, he's the one that would have to beef up a little bit. But, you know, I think it's a nice thing. You're moving back from 9. You're adding a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th this year, a 4th and a 5th next year. You're getting a wide receiver, a talented wide receiver that is still quality, and you're getting that at 30 compared to just drafting one at 9. Then you have the 49ers at 31. I have them going with their defensive need and going with Rakeshaw Jr. out of Missouri. And then with the Chiefs to wrap it all out, I have them going with defensive line. They need it, and they are going to go with... Ooh, is he even on here? He was on Tankathon. Oh, do they have him listed as an edge here? They have him... Okay. Tankathon has him listed as a D lineman. Mock draft database has him as an edge. No matter what, you've got Darius Robinson is the guy that the Chiefs take at 32 because they just need help on that defensive line. So before I get out of here, let's wrap everything up like I usually do. So at number 1, going back all the way back to the top, you have the Bears at number 1. They're going to draft Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. Then the Broncos are going to trade up to number 2, taking Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. Then at 3, the Patriots going to take Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Cardinals at 4, they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver from the Ohio State. Then the Chargers at 5, going with Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. The Giants at 6, going with Ola Fashanu, offensive tackle, Penn State. The Titans at 7, going with Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. The Falcons at 8, going with Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Bama. The Saints trading up to number 9, going with Jared Verse out of Florida State University. The Jets at 10, going with Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. The Vikings at 11, they're going to go with Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. The Commanders traded back. They're going to take Luatu Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA. Raiders at 13, going with J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan. Bengals trade up to 14. They're going to take Talis Fuaga, the offensive tackle out of Oregon State. Colts at 15, taking Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver out of LSU. Eagles trade up to 16 to take Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. Jaguars at 17, going with Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback from Toledo. Ravens trade up to 18. They're going to take Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver from LSU. Rams at 19, going with Nate Wiggins, the cornerback out of Clemson. The Steelers at 20, they're going to go with Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. Number 21, the Dolphins, going to go with J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. Seahawks trading back. They are going to go with Chop Robinson, the edge rusher out of Penn State. The Texans at 23 via the Browns. They're going to go with Jerzon Newton, the D lineman out of Illinois. Cowboys at 24, going to go with Byron Murphy II, D lineman out of Texas. Packers going with JPJ, Jackson Power Johnson, the interior offensive lineman from the Oregon Ducks. The Bucks at 26 going with Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. Cardinals via the Texans going with Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback out of Alabama. The Niners trading Brandon Ayuk, getting the 28th pick in the draft, taking Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Lions at 29 going Cameron Kitchen, safety out of the U, Miami of Florida. The Bears trading down from 9, then to 14, then to 20, then to 18, then to 30. Going to go with Troy Franklin, wide receiver from the Oregon Ducks. And then rounding everything out, the 49ers going to go with Ennis Rakeshaw Jr., cornerback from Mizzou. And then the Chiefs going with edge/D lineman, Darius Robinson out of Mizzou as well. So that's going to do it. This is where it comes in. This is the part I love. What did you think about my mock draft down below? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Most people are going to say, Ricky, you're an idiot. Why did you have this happen? Oh, you're an idiot. Why did you have this happen? There's no one that ever tells me that, hey, Ricky, you're so smart. You are the smartest man in the world. Your mock draft is perfect. There's a couple people that are like, hey, I really liked your pick for this team. I think you're on the right track. But I'm aiming for that, hey, Ricky, You're smart. You're ahead of the curve. I think you're a real genius here. That's what I'm waiting for. But I'm prepared for being called an idiot in this one. And I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. But let me know what you guys think down below. Remember, if you love the mock draft, hit that sub button. If you liked it, hit that like button. It really helps us out. Go ahead and support us on Patreon if you want to. That link is down below. Join the Discord to join in on all the conversations happening with the MVP universe. That link is also down below as well. I want to thank you for everything that you do. If you want more draft content, we have the Draft Room podcast here on the channel. Go ahead and check that one out. I want to thank you guys for everything you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.